You now tuned in to the Gumptown Podcast. I'm your boy Doug B. We ain't got nothing to talk about, but we got something to talk about. Let's go. Good people, good people, good people. Welcome back to the Gumptown Podcast, episode 137. I'm Doug B. If you tuned in to this podcast, thank you for your time and your attention. I really appreciate you giving this podcast a shot. Today's guest is the founder and owner of the Right Choice Senior Services, LLC. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and I'm sure we'll all be inspired by her story. Let's chop it up with Brittany Gholston. Brittany, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. How are you?
I'm glad to hear that. All is well on my end, too. First things first, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to chop it up with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, we're here to talk about the Right Choice Senior Services and all the great things you're doing with the business. But before we talk business, let's get to know the woman behind the brand. So you're born and raised in the Gump. What was your upbringing like in the city?
Well, I was born in the middle class. I had the best of the best private schooling. Then of course, when I graduated high school, I had my kids first, and then I decided to go to nursing school. I lost my dad in 2017, March 2017. So after that, I just decided to just jumpstart my career, go back, get in school, and become a nurse. And so I went to Trenton and got my associates, and then I went to Capella University and obtained my bachelor's. And now I'm currently at the University of North Alabama for my nurse practitioner.
Okay, wow. And thank you for sharing your story and my condolences to you losing your dad. I definitely understand how that feels and how that goes. And kudos to you for continuing to push on and to be strong and continue to go get your education despite of what happened with your dad. My condolences.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So you grew up in the middle class, so you had a great experience, the best of the best. I appreciate you for sharing that. It also sounds like you had a great village around you.
I did. My mom was a nurse. She still is. She just retired from the VA. And then my dad was a correctional officer. He did like 34 years in the Alabama Correctional Facility. So
Okay, so you had two parents working two jobs that involve serving people, being there for people. So it's no mistake that you ended up owning the business that you own. That's amazing.
yeah.
So let's talk more about the Right Choice Senior Services LLC. So what exactly inspired you to want to come into the home health care services side of the house?
Well, I actually enjoy helping people, especially seniors, um, the elderly in our community. My grandmother is the person that actually inspired me to open up this agency. I've done home health for years. I've actually started in 2008, a year after I graduated, and I've been in it ever since. And I wanted to build an empire that focuses more so on helping seniors, but just anybody that's in need of care. So my grandmother, she passed away about 2 years ago. She was 97 years old. And up until she died, we provided care and stuff for her. And it's to me, I've been in both parts of the world to where I've seen the nursing side home, and then I've seen the home health, and I'm just all for home health. Nursing home, don't get me wrong. I'm not against it, but I feel like if you can keep your loved ones at home, have them remain their independence in their own comfort of their own home, it's a plus to definitely have them being more comfortable in their home. So that's a couple of reasons why I decided to do home health.
That's amazing. I appreciate you for sharing that. And again, my condolences to the loss of your grandmother. 97 years. She lived a full life. That's amazing.
Y- yes, she did.
That's great that she was also able to inspire you to want to come into this home health space. And to your point, yes, nothing against nursing home, but to be able to go to someone's home, their safe space, their humble abode, and be able to provide those services, I'm sure it's much more confident for those elders to be in their home being cared for.
Right. And to me, it's like it helps them reserve the quality of life. I've seen seniors that go from their home to to a nursing home, and they just decline. And then I've seen seniors who are declining, and their loved ones pull them out the nursing home, and they just they scale, they do great. So it's like when you can keep them in their own home and be able to provide services for them to just be in their comfort zone, it's a plus.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And got a chance to check out your website, of course, and check out the many services that you offer. Everything from personal care, meal preparation, light housekeeping. You're making it happen, Brittany. You're doing a lot of great things for the elders. I love to see it.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So just in terms of your first client that you booked under your business, the Right Choice Senior Services LLC, do you recall the first client that you booked? And if so, what was that experience like?
Yes. The first client that I booked, Mr. Bill, he was a great guy. He taught me a lot. He basically, what he needed, he can walk and talk and do everything on his own. He mostly needed our super safety supervision services because he had some vision problems. So we was able like to provide care for him far as like making sure that he had meals and stuff prepared. And so we kept him for like a year and a half. And then he already had a son that moved to Texas. And then his daughter moved away. And he had nobody here but him because his wife had already passed and he had his church home. And so they tried to get him to go to where they were living. And he was like, no, he wanted to be here in his home that he shared with his wife, with his church family. And so then we started providing like around the clock care for him, just making sure like we were his family. It went so far, like I didn't even refer him as my client. He was more of like a grandfather. And we kept him for like 3.5 years. And then he recently passed a couple of months ago. And it really touched my heart because Mr. Bill used to always say that he had at least 10 to 15 years left to live. This was somebody who was walking around the block, and I literally had to catch my breath just to catch up with him. So he was just so smart, and I learned a lot from him. And he loved his church home. He loved us, and so he's one of my clients that I would never forget. When I was out here and wanted someone to give me and my services a chance, he did.
Mm. That's
So
that's amazing. Mr. Bill was that first client, that impactful client, like you said, he gave your services a chance and he didn't want to move away. He wanted to stay at his home and you got a chance to be there with him in those last 3 years of his life, take care of him and make that transition comfortable. And again, like I said earlier, I think it's absolutely great what you're doing with the Right Choice Senior Services LLC because like you said earlier, seniors go into these nursing homes, these hospitals, and let's just call a spade a spade. They get mistreated 9 times out of 10. So
right.
the fact that your business, your company gets a chance to come into their humble abode and take care of them, I'm sure it prolongs their life. And as well as you said earlier, just improves their overall quality of life. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that story about Mr. Bill.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, ma'am. So whenever I have entrepreneurs on the platform like yourself, I like to talk about three things: the aha moment, action, and audacity. I know you mentioned your aha moment came from your grandmother and she inspired you to want to come into this space. So let's delve a little deeper into the aha moment. What sparked the idea to actually take their love for seniors and senior care and turn it into a business itself?
Um, because I wanted to have my own agency. I want to be a large corporation that not only in it for the money, but the love of helping people. I worked in a home healthcare, and I feel in my personal experience that they're all about the money versus certain ones are all about the money and what they can gain versus the overall love and care for the seniors, even to the people that they hire. I just always wanted to have an agency that stood out from others, not price wise, but the quality, the love, the drive that we have for serving the people in our community. Because when you in this type of field, you definitely have to have a desire for it. And when it got to the point where I was going to sleep, waking up, just couldn't function without trying to put my dream into an action plan or just take off running behind getting this agency to where I needed to be, then I knew then like this was for me, this is my calling.
I definitely understand that, and everything you said just spot on. A lot of these services being driven about the money, and like you also said, just having that desire. You have to have the desire to want to do this, and you identified that you wanted to create your own agency. You wanted to create the change that you knew needed. You wanted to create the change that you knew needed to be put in place, just in terms of this home care services businesses. So that led to you launching the business, which is great stuff. So from the time you had that aha moment, how long did it take you to take action, coming up with a name and getting the LLC started and all that good stuff?
It didn't take long, for me. I'll say probably like maybe 4 months. It took like 4 months for me to get everything, like my name and my LLC. It took about 4 months. I actually started in 2019 and I stopped so that I could finish nursing school. And when I got out of nursing school, I was like, well, maybe I should just, because it was like we was around COVID time, we had started getting clients, and then COVID hit because people didn't want people inside their homes. And then I got in nursing school, and so when I got out, I was like, well, maybe I should just put the business on hold, just close it for a minute. And then I thought about it. You get out what you put in, and I really couldn't say that I put 100% in at the time because I had so much going on from the death of my dad, and then my grandma declined, and then COVID, and then school. So I wanted to just go full head on. So actually, I rebranded in 22, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's amazing. Just hearing you talk about pivoting and going through COVID-19. Like you said, that was a very interesting time, and people didn't want anyone in their homes, and understandably so, because COVID had us all shook. No one knew what the heck was going on. We just saw people dying by the boatload. So it was definitely a scary time. And hats off to you for staying strong and hanging in there. And like you said, dealing with all the things you were dealing with and rebranding. I've been rocking and rolling since 2022. So you had your idea, you acted on the idea and ended up rebranding. Those are great things, powerful things. So let's talk about the last portion, audacity. It takes courage and audacity to not only act on an idea, but to put it out to the world to be praised or criticized. Who or what gave you that courage, that audacity to put the right choice senior services LLC out to the world?
My mother, my mom, like, it was, and I'm still going through. Well, now I'm a little more confident in the services and my business, but I was shy, and I wasn't the type of person to like speak and and stuff, and or come out and introduce myself for my business. And my mom was like, this is something you believe in. This is your baby. You have to stand behind it. You have to stand beside it. This kind of industry is word of mouth. So, you have to let the community know, who are you? Why are you so different from the thousands of other agencies locally and nearby? So she kind of was my motivation behind me just standing on what I believe and standing behind my business and having that courage and strength to just say, hey, I'm Brittany Gholston, and I stand behind the right choice in your services. This is who we are, and this is what we do, and this is what we have to offer, and this is why you should make the right choice and choose us to take care of your loved ones.
That's powerful stuff. Hats off to mom. Much respect to mom for continuing to inspire, continuing to encourage you. And it's amazing how much of a full circle moment that is. Of course, when you're a child, mom is there to encourage you and inspire you. And even as an adult, mom is still there. So it just goes to show you we all need a village around us at all stages of our life. So hats off to mom for encouraging you to put your brand out there. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So you've done great things with the business, and I'm sure great things are coming down the pipeline, which leads to my next portion, vision. What are some of your short-term or long-term goals for the business you feel comfortable sharing?
Um, my short-term goal is right now I'm working to accept Medicaid. I know that home health is expensive, and some of the our citizens can't afford home health, but still want the quality care. So I am working with Medicaid in the near future. Really soon. It's my short-term goal. My long-term goal is to open up the right choice. My next location I want to target is Birmingham. Also, I'm launching off of the right choice. I've already started working, but I actually put my lunch date off. But I do have the right choice collection where I'll be having like scrubs and medical necessities and different things like that. And then in a year or so, I want to have the right choice lab center where they can come and get their labs drawn for their doctor's appointments and fingerprinting and offer those different services too. So I definitely want the right choice to be like a global brand that offers several services in different areas.
Okay, sounds good. Those are both great goals, short term and long term, and I have no doubt you'll make them all come to fruition.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. As we wrap up the podcast, Brittany, I want to ask $1 million question. I started this podcast to highlight the greatness connected to the city of Montgomery, whether you were born here or lived here for a significant period of your life, be it college, military, or work. You being a hometown hero, what makes you the most proud to be from the Gump?
Um, what makes me most proud of being from the Gump is because I love my city and I stand behind everything that we try to do in all aspects of life. And that's it.
Hey,
Born here, raised here. This all I know.
yes, ma'am. No said. Powerful stuff. So, Brittany, how can the people connect with you? What are your social media handles and website?
Well, the website is www.trcseniorservices.com. My Facebook is The Right Choice Senior Services. I do have an Instagram and it's TRC Senior Services. Also, if they go on the website, it's a link so that they can send me a message on the website as well. And we are located at 2835 Zelda Road, Montgomery, Alabama. And our number is 334-306-6618.
All right, sounds good. And of course, I'll put all of the information in the description of the episode. Hey, Brittany, thanks again for the conversation. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Doug, for the invite. I really appreciate it. And I love what you're doing for our city.
Yes, ma'am. Good people, that concludes another dope episode of the Gumptown Podcast. In the meantime, in between time, y'all know what to do. Be blessed, be safe, but most importantly, have the audacity to be you. Gone. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate your time and your attention. Until next time.